transformation as we hear the story, tell the story, and live the story.
Lower Merion Baptist Church is a community within a larger community. This entire area was founded by Welsh Quakers who were friends of William Penn from the country of Wales and wanted a Welsh-speaking, self-governing community in the New World, a place where they could worship without being harassed or molested by the English and the English church. And the Welsh did come and settle as a political entity. The township didn't work out. They did not have their own assembly here in 1682. But the Welsh did come and settle, and they did speak their own language. They built their houses. And the land on which the Lower Merion Baptist Church is built is part of a 700-acre estate called Bryn Mawr, which means high or great hill in Welsh. And it was 700 acres out of a 5,000-acre tract of land called Merion. And today we're still known as Lower Merion Township. That township of Merion was named after the area in Wales from which the Welsh Quakers originated. Many of them were known as the Merioneth Adventurers in the early 1680s when the first settlers arrived. The property of 700 acres that includes the historic Harriton House was a farm, about 40 acres of which was farmed under the original settlers. Roland Ellis, who built the house and owned the property, may have been a good Quaker, but he was a terrible businessman. He lost the property to a man named Richard Harrison. That's where the name that survives today originates. Richard Harrison was married to a Philadelphia girl named Norris, and the Norris land was known as Norriton. Thus Harrison's land became known as Harriton. And it was Richard Harrison's daughter, Hannah, who married a fellow named Charles Thompson. Charles Thompson was the first and ultimately only secretary to the Continental Congresses, and it was he, when he lived here at Harriton in retirement, who arranged for the transfer of land from his wife's family to the Lower Merion Baptist community. This Baptist community is one of the earliest faith communities in what we call Lower Merion Township, other than the original Quaker settlers.
Well, I think one of the positive things about the church is the fact that it's a diverse congregation. Back when I first came, the church was pretty much all the same. But now we have people of different racial backgrounds, different cultural backgrounds, and I think that's a real positive thing for the church. And it's something that the church can be proud of, the fact that people of different backgrounds feel comfortable in our congregation. And the worship services have, I think, have been inspiring and have spoken to people, youth as well as adults. And we're going to try something new in the fall, maybe reaching out to another group with a second service to be more inclusive. So things are changing, but I think the optimism and the encouragement of our pastor really is something that is a very positive thing that we can look forward to.
Well, our church has changed. You have a whole new culture. As a church change, the church itself, the physical church itself, has been expanded, but the people in the church are different, and we have different ways of looking at things and different ways of approaching serving in a church. But of course, this is part of life. Life changes. Things are. I guess that's the only way I can describe it. In the church, we do change. Things change, and we have to change with it. But one basic thing does not change is your faith. You still have faith in faith in God, faith in people, and faith in what's going to take place. these things don't change.
Well, Lower Merion used to be very well attended. There were many people who attended Lower Merion. We used to have a school bus, which we rented, and we used to go right through Ardmore from, well, maybe from one end of Bryn Mawr all the way down to Rosemont. And we would pick up any kids who wanted to attend Sunday school. And we picked up an awful lot of kids. Now, I never drove the bus, but I think my brother did, and I think Ridley did, my husband, and it was the thing to do. It was a real mission program. And because of that, we were more well known. And therefore, that's probably one of the reasons why we had very good attendance.
Physically, it changed a lot while we were here. And I mentioned some of the things in the service about the renovations. And one of the things that was very obvious I didn't mention was that huge stained glass window over the baptistry was not in there back then. So that's different. But there have been other upgrades. The stair helpers that get people moved around better, that kind of thing. And it's been taken care of very well. People have been careful and have done an excellent job. That's terrific.
I tell you, it looks lively. Looks like there's a lot of life here, a lot of activity, and that's the way it was when we were there too. Of course, when we were there, Pastor Faith was the pastor and would be for a number of years after we left. And it looks like it's going really great. Pastor Malone has a lot of energy and a real vision for the place. It seems so. It looks really wonderful.